Last episode of Mighty Car Mods, we turbocharged Yaris Hilton with a turbocharger that we bought off eBay for just $169. And today,
we're going to make it run properly.
Welcome to another episode of Mighty Car Mods. You wanted it. So here it is, everybody. Yaris Hilton.
Wait, who wanted this?
I don't think anybody does,
know that
but we're doing
anybody
it.
actually wanted
What
this.
else are you going to put a $169
We now have
turbocharger on, Martin?
a big block 1.8 litre Toyota Yaris, which came with a 1.3. It was slow. It was crap. It was slow around the track. Now it's fast around the track because we big blocked it. And then we put a cheap, really cheap turbo on it. And now hopefully it's going to be faster, except it doesn't run yet.
Luckily, our friend Dave is here. Yo!
Hey, Dave.
How you doing, man? Good to see you. He's the wiring guru from Haltech, and he's going to help us actually make it run because, as you probably saw last time, we've got this incredible little hack down here. Dave, look at this. We cut up the airflow meter. We used some super glue, and I mean, that's some quality work right there. Anyway, we did get it running enough to see that the turbocharger was spinning. It's getting oil, but we've actually got to make it run. That was weird. We've actually got to make it run properly, and that's why Dave's here.
Exactly. So we've got a few things to do. When you add air, you've got to add fuel, and you need something to control it. The factory ECU is not capable of it, so we're going to do some hacking to make it work. We've got some other things to put in, like injectors and a pump, to make sure there's enough fuel to make that engine an absolute weapon.
And then, of course, today we're going to find out exactly how much power it makes. And don't forget, there's a wager on this. My good friend, I think, has guessed 128 kilowatts at the wheels. I have guessed 115 kilowatts at the wheels. And of course, the winner gets 5,000 rupiah. So come with us on this magical journey. We're turbocharging a Yaris. Why? Who knows?
A bunch of our mates have come over to help, but once they saw what we've done, they decided to go watch vloggers buy crashed supercars instead. Make sure you rate, comment and subscribe, guys. Luckily, Dave has stayed around to help us sort out the wiring, and Marty is remaking some intercooler piping so we can add an air temperature sensor.
If your car has a reflashable ECU, that is by far the cheapest way to accommodate your newfound boost. We don't have the ability to do that on this particular car, so the next cheapest method is a piggybacked ECU. This is where you keep the factory computer in place, but hand over the job of fuel, ignition timing and boost control to another computer, while the factory one does idle, air conditioning and other boring stuff. In this case, we're using a Haltech Elite 750. We can connect our injectors, ignition coil and engine position sensors to it, and we can then plug in a laptop and make it all work. We can intercept all the required signals at the factory ECU and then run some new wiring for air temperature sensor and boost control. We can then run a hose to the ECU for vacuum and boost, then crack out the laptop and tell the software what kind of engine it is and try to get it to run.
With all that done, it's time to start the car, or try to anyway.
The factory ECU and the Haltech are battling it out for control over the engine, but with a few settings tweaked, we reckon we've got it figured out.
Yeah, check engine light. Awesome.
Now we know the computer's able to run the engine, we can get started on the next stage of mods.
So, a little Yaris runs absolutely awesomely, but we just want to make sure that it's actually going to keep running and nothing is holding it back from making the maximum 115 kilowatts at the wheels that it needs to make. 115.
I've got rupiahs on the line, man.
You do, 5,000 of them, which is worth quite a lot in Australian dollary dues. So we are replacing the injectors, which are down here. We're also going to take out the spark plugs, see what we need to do, replace those. And then, Martin, I do believe you're putting in a fuel pump.
The Haltech went in really easily. Actually, a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be because we're just running our fuel system and ignition system. We have to tell the Haltech where the engine's positioned, and that's about it. Luckily, the Corolla ECU is dumb enough that it goes, you can use my pedal. Because the pedal, the E-throttle, is the reason why this is tricky, because it's got the electronic throttle, and that usually goes, it's like driveline protection, it's emissions, it's idle, it's all these other things, but the pedal's just like, no, you can do what you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't know that computer's still here and still plugged in, but doesn't know what the engine's up to.
Yeah,
It's
right.
like someone's just put, they put like a couple of blankets under a quilt and it looks like someone's sleeping, but they're not because they're outside doing burnouts in the street.
What?
Exactly.
Okay, good. So
Best I could come up with.
So then
Look at my cable ties, man.
They're the Mighty Car Mods cable ties.
So good.
You want to fix up your mad car? Here's a message from our sponsor, us. We've got Mighty Car Mods cable ties and Mighty Car Mods gaff tape, cloth tape, duct tape,
Duct
duck
tape.
quack
Duct.
tape.
No,
Call it
duct
whatever you want.
tape.
No, duct
Because
tape.
it goes in ducts.
No, dude.
It's not
It's
duct
not.
tape.
100%.
We've had this conversation.
Dude, it was used originally in the military for doing underwater applications. It's called duct tape because it can go under. Anyway, we don't even need to go there again.
I'm going to see what kind of spark plugs in here because we're going to need different ones probably. Am I on your way?
No, man. I'm just enjoying the intimacy of it
Yaris
all, really.
Hilton's got 2 people in the front.
So,
Oh, what is that?
that's a snail, mate.
Is there actually a snail?
Yeah, it's a legit snail down there. Look at
What's
that. I
hanging
need to
on?
get him
What's
out.
that? Maybe move that
No, it's down here,
because that's in the
dude.
way.
It's
Because the fuel rail's still connected.
it's over there. Oh yeah, there's a
this
snail
crap.
down there. Not the snail that we put
How
in
a
there.
snail got in there?
Don't know, mate. Don't know.
Dude, it was meant to be. This engine was foreshadowing its future
Yes, it was.
because there's a snail.
There is a snail.
And we put a snail.
We did.
Whoa.
Double snail. Anyway, let's talk
Freaking
more
out.
do.
Luckily for us, the injectors are mounted in the same way that you see on most JDM cars. Not so lucky is that they are also a fairly unique design which will require some extra parts to make work.
What we found as we continue working on this engine is some parts are so loose you don't even need tools, it's just finger tight. We're replacing the spark plugs because we have no idea how long they've been in the engine, whether they've been put in properly or what condition they're in. Our suspicions were correct, these spark plugs are looking nasty. Meanwhile, our upgraded injectors don't fit, yay! So Marty's chatting with Tuning Fork about finding another solution.
Thank you, good sir. I'll let you know how I go.
Good
Thanks,
luck.
bud. Bye. There you go. So our injectors that we got basically just don't have that extended tip. Yes, we probably should have pulled them out first, but we're so busy trying to get the car running, we didn't really get around to it. So that's a surprise. Same as Evo 10. Apparently common in VWs and Porsches and BMWs as well. So it must be a bit of a Euro thing to get the fuel injected further deeper down in the port. Wow, they're tiny.
Look at that.
Look how black they
Oh,
are.
no, they're tiny. They're 14 mil, but just black.
Look at them.
So we'll replace them.
Yeah, cool.
We're getting somewhere.
We are. They're long too. They're really extended as well.
So
Like,
this is a bit of a magical mystery tour, isn't it, with these?
it is. So, I mean, I ordered the wrong ones, but it's not a bad thing to have them in stock because they'll fit heaps of other things.
Yeah,
Because this is
exactly.
standard. That's what Scotty was saying on the phone is this O-ring and this O-ring are a standard size. So
Yeah.
that fits like most cars.
Yeah, cool.
It just wants the fuel squirted further down into the port.
The common garden snail has a top speed of around 45 metres an hour, making it one of the slowest creatures on Earth, but that's still faster than our Toyota Yaris.
Okay, so status update is we have to replace the spark plugs because they are completely shagged.
Totally bad.
And our injectors don't fit.
That's right. So I got full-size injectors because that's what most Toyotas use. But when this engine came out, it was a generation change that meant they started using extended tip injectors to get the fuel further down into the ports. So that's a bit of a bummer because these won't work, but we'll keep these around because there might be other projects that will work in. So we've got to get ourselves some injectors from somewhere.
Which we could just pull out of your Evo.
Dude.
Because it's right there. And that actually gets this working.
Dude, we have to beep it.
Okay.
Now we have to beep it.
Okay, sorry.
There's some other stuff we can get along with, including putting the front of the car back together.
Evo's
And
right there.
also,
Evo 10.
Yaris
Evo 10
Hilton
injectors fit in
is
this.
probably going to need
It's right
a fuel pump because we're putting big injectors in. We might as well put a pump in. It's lazy not to, so we're just going to do it because laziness is not good.
Yep, so you do the fuel pump.
Yep.
I'm going to put the front end back together.
Yep.
And then at least the car's kind of complete. Once that's done, hopefully we get some injectors in,
Yep.
get the spark plugs in, put it back together,
Oh,
onto the dyno. 115 kilowatts, people.
Our front driver's side drive shaft is also totally boned, and
The actual shaft?
The thread is all stripped out.
Okay.
So I don't know. It looks like it's been taken in and out a few times. We actually haven't taken it out of the hub before that
Yeah.
I remember. So I don't know if that was us or maybe it was us.
It was us. I seem to remember bashing it very hard with a hammer.
That could be
Remember?
why. So I've got another one of those on the way as well. So we'll stick a new drive shaft in it, which means we can't drive it. So we got to put all that in before we can drive it. We can start it once we get our stuff.
All right, let's cue some classic Mighty Car Mods tunes and just get to work.
It reminds me of the old tunes.
While Marty investigates the fuel pump, I'm going to put the front of the car back together, ready to hit the street.
It just occurred to me that to put the spark plugs in and out, it looks like you actually may need to remove this big flap each time because the spark plugs are buried so deep in there. It'd be hard to get the tool in there to actually get them out. So we're actually not going to put that back in, but I'll leave it sitting there and I will just do the rest of the front end and then show you what it looks like when it's all done because it's going to look minty, delicious.
The front bar is going back on for the last time, held in place with half a bag of cable ties, full JDM legit.
Meanwhile, I'm getting rid of the back seats for the friends I don't have so that I can access the fuel pump and we can see if it's up to the task of our new turbo conversion.
We actually should leave these out, man. We'll drop like... Dude, this is so heavy I can't lift it by myself.
Really?
Can you help me?
Yeah.
You should see how massive this seat is, dude. It's like the biggest, like for a little hatchback.
Oh, far out is detailed. Why is there so much going on?
Because you can fold them forward, flat, down, you can do all, and you can move them back and forth when you're in the back seat.
Okay.
It's like genius, but we get it fit through the hole. I reckon if you really, really yank on it from the front.
Hold on.
Is it going to fit through?
Can I just do it by myself?
Yeah.
You can watch.
Oh, dude, you smashed it. Careful, what's the Juco? How much do you reckon that weighs? Like 35 kilos, 40 kilos?
40 kilos, I reckon.
Man, we're going to save some bulk truck time with that
That's a
out.
lot of seat.
Are we leaving it out?
Yeah, doesn't need to go back in there. Back seats are a waste of time. Unless you, you know.
The only problem with removing the rear seats is you can't take your mates anywhere with you.
We don't have any mates anyway. You know you're modifying a car you really care about when you're using chicken scissors to cut it up to make way for intercooler pipes, don't you, Martin?
The important word you used there was intercooler.
I thought the important word was chicken scissors.
Why are they called chicken scissors?
Because they cut chickens up with them.
Just back to snails for a second. Did you know they can live up to 25 years old? That is, unless of course they're being eaten at a French restaurant, where they are considered a delicacy called escargot. And that's why Nissan made a car called an escargot, because you guessed it, it looks like a snail.
Keen viewers may have noticed that the Yaris and the Corolla are both returnless systems, which means you've got one pipe from your fuel pump back here to the front. You don't have a return, it's not constantly cycling fuel. That's a problem sometimes when you are adding turbos and things because you can't add a pressure regulator which brings up the fuel pressure in line with the boost pressure, so the boost pressure isn't like fighting with your fuel pressure and essentially dropping it. What we are able to do though, because we're using bigger injectors, is we'll be able to make up for that in the fuel map using the Haltech. So we just basically open them more and add the fuel that the regulator will otherwise do. It's not a perfect system. You can turn this into a return system, which is one way of doing it if you want to do that. For the kind of power level we're aiming for though, this will be just fine.
Much like a Golf R, the pump assembly is held in with a big threaded ring. It's done this way so the one unit can accommodate the charcoal canister, fuel pump, fuel filter and regulator all in one unit. A clever design, but not boost friendly. We're hoping we'll be able to replace just the pump for greater fuel supply and leave the rest of it as is.
It's going to be a perfect fit, Martin. Look at it.
No, it's probably not.
Perfect. See? See how this one's twice the size of that one?
What is that anyway? Denso fuel pump. Man, there's a whole lot of new stuff going on, isn't there?
There is.
Oh well. Guess this Yaris not going to be fast.
I'll just put this one back away then.
Won't
be needing that one.
We'll save it for next time. It's all this modern generation stuff.
I just want to do a little recap so far that the spark plugs that we don't have don't fit because we don't have them. The injectors don't fit. The fuel pump doesn't fit. But I've put the front bar on entirely with cable ties because all the screws and stuff that were in it, they don't fit. So
we're doing well.
We're doing great, but you know what?
It's not
gonna get in the way of us having a good time.
No,
with
we are.
Yaris Hilton.
I'm having a good time. No, I mean, I just pulled the fuel pump out completely unnecessarily. Waste of time.
Do you want to try and get one of those, or are you just going to send it?
They don't exist. I've never seen it before, man. And I shouldn't say they don't exist because someone will say, yes, they do. But I've never seen it before.
How will they say it, Martin?
Yes, they do.
While Marty solemnly puts the factory fuel pump back in, I've picked up some fresh new spark plugs to replace the old festy ones. First thing I have to do is carefully gut them down, and then I can stick them in the engine. Our next task is to remove the old drive shaft. It's been in and out so many times that the thread on it is completely maggot. With the old shagged drive shaft removed, now we can install a crispy brand new one that is pineapple fresh. With the new drive shaft in, we are all ready for some boosty front wheel drive skids. So now we can move on to reinstalling the front of the car and getting it finished.
It turns out you can buy injectors out of some kind of weird Euro car that can be made to fit our Toyota with a little bit of hacking and some adapters. They clip onto the top of the injector and then they fit perfectly in the factory rail of our 2ZR engine. They require some new plugs which are an easy swap onto the factory loom. So now we've got 600cc of injector, which is around double what the engine came with standard.
All right, everybody, so we're done. That is the $169 turbo conversion. Total cost, $169.
Yeah, right. Plus the weeks and weeks of time and staying up late at night trying to figure stupid. Just like Mr. Toyota doesn't want it to be turbo. It's like they were like, we're going to make it as hard as possible for anyone to turbo our cars. It's just fighting us, man. Yaris Hilton's fighting back.
It's time to go for a drive, though.
It's time to try.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for.
We don't actually know if it's going to work.
Drive to the closest cliff and push it off.
It might drive, it might not. I actually got no idea.
Yaris Hilton is coming down, and we're about to find out if our $169 turbo is actually going to boost.
I like how there's just a random bolt come out that's most definitely meant to be connected to something important.
There's no tune in it at all.
Okay.
So currently the factory computer and the Haltech are sort of fighting each other. It's fine to putt around and it idles really well, but there's no map in there for the load. So as soon as it sees boost, it's like having no ECU in there at all.
It's just like what?
Yeah, it's just like what. So, but look, we're driving it. Next up, it's a matter of putting on the dyno and actually trying to tune it, trying to make power and trying to see if anything falls out of it, because that could still very much happen.
Yeah,
but,
that's right. Oh, it makes great noises. That's awesome.
It's awesome. It's just once there's load on it, like I can't accelerate past about probably 20%. If I do, it just starts to buck around because it's out of range.
Okay. So it just needs a tune.
Just needs a tune now.
And then it'll possibly work.
No idea. No idea if the fuel pump's up for it at all.
5,000 rupiah wager, Martin. It's 5,000 on the line.
Nah, man.
128 kilowatts at the wheels. 115 kilowatts at the wheels.
Yeah. 100,000, I'm going there.
100,000 rupiah.
That's how confident I am this car's going to make good, solid power and be freaking amazing.
128 kilowatts at the wheels, 100,000 rupiah.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Oh my gosh, I would not be making bets like that, man. That is a lot of money.
If I accelerate.
Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! That is what I'm talking about. It's making turbo noises.
It sounds really good.
It sounds amazing.
Oh, I can't wait till it's tuned and we can actually drive it properly.
All right, everybody, we've turboed a Yaris. Now it's time to see who's going to get themselves 100,000 rupiah. We'll make it out to Haltech, won't we?
Sure, and if we don't, we've got a tow truck on speed dial.
All right, cool. All right, let's make our way out there and get tuned and win some bulk cash.